Good evening. Welcome to another thrilling and engaging discussion with Matthew from English Uplift. I'm a little lonely. Hirami is taking a rest. She put in a very hard day's work today, and over dinner she did look very, very tired, and I suggested that she take the evening off and I do a YouTube broadcast representing English Uplift this evening by myself with you. Oh, wee K Sensei. I wonder who you are. But thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for jumping straight into the chat box too. I feel very lonely here, but as long as you guys can throw in some chats to say hello and give you some feedback and things, we might be okay. Hirami was very, it's Eddie Sensei. Thank you, Eddie Sensei. Good to have your company. Thank you for joining. So we gave Hirami the evening off, although I don't know. She could be in the next room watching this. I don't know. I suspect she's not. I suspect she's gone to bed because she was very, very tired this evening. She had put in a very hard day of work. And so over dinner, I suggested maybe I'll do this by myself. But I'm kind of regretting doing that now, because being in the classroom by myself, that's no problem. Doing a workshop by myself, that's no problem. Playing music by myself, that's no problem. But doing these kind of engaging in these kind of online what's the word? Online interaction is not my strong point. But I have prepared a few things to discuss with you, and hopefully you'll find them interesting. Also, just to be on the safe side, I thought, well, if I am going to be by myself, I brought the piano along. Just in case I feel lonely, I can always just, we need some volume there. I don't take requests. How is everybody? I hope you are having a happy, productive week. Spring is well and truly started. We've had in our school our second week of lessons for our second year. Our school opened this time last year, and so we are entering our second year. Very exciting time. It's kind of settling in now. The preparation for a new year is always a little bit tough. New textbooks, new students sometimes, but it is also refreshing. Sort of like, just all right, let's begin at the beginning again. So I hope things are going well with you, and I hope you get a lot of production out of your school this year. Actually, I might take requests. If you have something that you think, I think Matthew might know this, put it in the chat box, and then I might play it. I can't guarantee it. Hear me? So let's get this started on our time together. Now, if I run out of things to say, we'll end it. But I'll do my best, and I've got a few things to show you, actually. I went through, in preparation for this evening, I went through my photo reel, is that the word? And for any recent memories, recent events, recent happenings, and decided to kind of base my chat with you this evening on. Good evening. Sanaya Sensei, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Yep. Keep this chat box alive and well, because it will give a little bit of encouragement. Being totally by myself, the chair, Hirami's regular chair, is totally empty, and she has gone to bed. All right. The first photo I want to show you is not an original photo. I downloaded it from, I think, Facebook. It was on somebody's Facebook feed. But I got a lot from this particular post, and it actually inspired me towards another very positive, very happy second year at the school that I'm working in. It's a lovely picture of a tree and a rainbow with just some English in the sky, and it reads something like this. This way. Sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. So it's a very nice meme. It's a very positive meme. And I loved it and found I could get a lot of inspiration from it. So I took it, and I do refer to this every now and then. Sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen. Now that, I'm a very fortunate individual. That is, bad things don't happen to me often. But like everybody, occasionally you find yourself in a situation that you react to not very positively. So this, in that sense, can be perceived as something bad. But as this eloquently describes, sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us. And I can totally agree with this. And based on experience, that is exactly what has happened to me in my recent years. So I decided to start today with this particular photo because I wonder if anybody else can relate to it. And if you can't, perhaps in the future, try to remember this particular photo and this meme, because from experience, it's absolutely so totally true sometimes. So whenever you feel something's bad has happened, it's always happened for a reason. And you may not know what that is now, or at the time that it happens, but eventually you will know. And positives can come out. Positives can come out. So keep that in mind. So with this one being said, let's move on to my next photo. Swipe. Well, this photo, I think, appeared on some group. It might have been on a Facebook group or Hirami's personal Facebook. I don't know. This is not the first time you're seeing this. So this is kind of my life these days. That's wheels on the bus. We briefly discussed this last week, I think. Now, working with very small kids, some people love it. Some teachers love it. The funny thing is with me, you know, I've been a preschool head teacher for like 16 years at one school. I was the director of a preschool for a different school for another 2 years, for 2 years. And at the current school I'm in, most of the kids are very, very small kids. But still, I do feel nervous with small kids classes. They're not my forte. But the funny thing is the kids like me. So that's a relief. Be dreadful to feel the way I feel and also have kids not like you. That would be pretty, you'd really want to consider your career choice at that particular moment. But to the kids' credit, definitely to the kids' credit, I'm very motivated. I feel nervous with them, but I'm very motivated. And I wonder if do you have this thing as well? Maybe when you're working with kids who are not necessarily your forte, they kind of make you nervous. That's me with some of the small kids classes. But in saying that, oh, what's that? Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun. I think somebody's trying to contribute to the chat box, but the message is not coming through. Never mind. Keep trying. That'd be great. But I must say, they're very cute. They're very funny. It's their unpredictability that kind of throws me. My sense of when your goal is clear, that's where you want to go. But sometimes the small kids are not very cooperative with where you want to go. Okay. And I know you guys are like, yeah, that's what small kids are all about. But still, we're having good fun, and they are producing quite a lot of English when they watch and listen. And I remember this particular lesson because I remember we were all also laughing. Here the kids are all sitting on the bus, all very nicely. But I do remember one of the kids just like jumped off the bus, and I reacted to that, leading the other kids to believe that I had believed he had jumped off the bus. So the kids got that, and we all laughed a lot together. So this is one representative photo of my life these days. What else have we got? All right. This is an activity involving rolling balls to each other. It's a very useful warm-up activity to get kids talking. Sometimes if you jump straight in from good morning, how are you today? I'm fine. Without some kind of warm-up activity that has kids speaking. Some teachers like to start with a song. That's okay. I do occasionally with the pink learning, welcome to Learning World pink students. But this one, this particular activity where we roll balls to each other can have kids asking for colors, asking for numbers, very easy content. And so it is a popular warm-up game. And incidentally, even the older kids, although I don't play, we don't do it as much as we used to, but the older kids do like this activity too, because it gets kids speaking out. It gets kids speaking out, and I think a warm-up activity that has that, you know, whatever game you are using, as long as it has kids speaking out, because otherwise it's not warm-up, is it? All right, another photo involving small kids. Here they are doing arts and craft. And I chose this photo to let you know, particularly if you've never taught small kids or you are planning to teach small kids, before you have small kids use glue sticks, please show them how to use them. Because they roll them too high. You know, with a glue stick, you only need about this much, not even that, maybe this much of the head of a glue stick. Do I have any? Oh, I do. Typical glue stick. And you roll it up. And that's all you need. Just a tip. But small kids don't always know that. And before you know it, all 8 of your students have all got the glue up here, or even further, and start to use it, and then it breaks, and then they try to push it with the cap down, and then it gets stuck in the cap. Now, it's not their fault. Now, this is not going down now. Yeah, okay. It's not their fault. It's kids just being kids. But from experience, you might want to let small kids know and show them how much glue to use and then how to close it and put the cap on. You'll save yourself a large number of glue sticks, I can assure you. But yes, kids and I, we are slowly warming to each other. Of course, we're warming to each other. It's all right. It's been a year. But I still get nervous. Okay. Well, at least a few smiling faces. At least I'm smiling. Now, these 2 particular boys, this is the first year, they're actually in a class together, which is very nice, because they're quite similar. It took a long time for these young individuals to watch and listen. A very long time, several months. But finally, we're all on the same page, and we're all working towards the same goal of starting to use English. They're still very young. They're this not this guy, that's me. This guy here, he is Nenshu this year. And this particular guy too, Nenshu. But we're on the same page. They are starting to watch, starting to listen, and they're in the same class when they weren't last year. So it's pretty fun. And it's good to get a smile from those guys. However, occasionally, at least one of them will go on strike when we are moving the table, and he will want to be carried on the table like it's a stretcher. So it kind of takes ages to get going for the lesson to get started. Do you have kids like that? You see what I mean by unpredictability? All you want to do is move the table. And then before you know it, one of your students is lying on the table and not getting off. And that makes it very hard to move the table. Nothing happens. But I mean, it produces a moment of genuine communication, obviously. But you know, when you go out of your way to prepare a lesson, prepare things, this step, then this, and then this, okay, I've got all the material prepared, took you hours. The younger the kids, the more preparation is needed, I feel. Oh, I can totally relate. Oh, Sanae Sensei, thank you. I can totally relate to that. Right? Well, this guy, the guy that's on strike, for the first 6 months of his English lessons with me, all he would do would be take off his socks, throw them, and run around. And I had materials all prepared, ready to go, but he was interested in the posters on the wall. Isn't that interesting? The kids, very young kids, are often not interested in what you have prepared. They're interested in what they are finding in the classroom. And he could count to 100. I mean, that's pretty good going for a Nenshaw. What else have we got? What other photos have I found? Okay, let's make a face, a happy, happy face. Eyes, a nose, and a mouth. So yeah. Yeah, happy face always brings smiles to me as well. Let's make a face, a funny, funny face. Okay. Let's make a face, a funny, funny face. So far, yeah, okay, this guy here. This guy goes everywhere with Doraemon, or Doraemon goes everywhere with him. Everywhere. He comes to his English lessons, of course, Doraemon. He sits with us at the table, and he's even a participant in the activities that we do. So he is crucial to this guy's movements. Crucial. It was actually a little bit difficult for me to accept because I thought it was a distraction. But then I looked at it in other ways and thought, well, why not? Let's have Doraemon at the table. All right. If If this guy is getting some picture cards, then yet Doraemon gets picture cards too. So this guy pays, or his mum pays for his lessons, and Doraemon gets his lessons for free. I just have to adjust. But he's a great kid. He's not a very good communicator with other kids. He prefers to be on his own with Doraemon and me. So those photos, I just picked up just a couple of random photos to demonstrate my great appreciation for my current work situation. And, these kids are pretty cool. Pretty cool. Parents, good relationship with them. Apparently, I have heard I should be a little bit more communicative with parents. I wonder if you ever have that situation. How is your relationship with your students' parents? It is very important. I've never really had to focus on communication with parents because I've always had a manager to take care of that. But this year, I am the manager and the teacher. So like many of you, I would imagine. So communication with parents is important. But even so, it's not a strong point. I would rather just focus on the kids. And the kids, if I focus on the kids are totally happy. And their English is improving. And I know how important it is. But on the other hand, there's one niggling side of me that says, well, the parents shouldn't have to worry. Just leave it to Matthew, is how I would personally kind of prefer. But I know parents need reassurance. How is my son? How is my daughter? How is their English? What homework do they have? And I'm like, well, I've told the kids it's all right, but parents do want to be on top of the situation. So I totally understand, but I'm not very good at it. And my spoken Japanese is okay, and my written Japanese is okay. But even so, miscommunications happen. And that occasionally can cause to confusion and miscommunication. But luckily, I do have support. I have support. I know you communicate with your parents, with your students' parents, and you are probably using Japanese or English for those. Yeah, I'm going to say, do you have parents who don't understand Japanese? Because that would be interesting. That would be interesting. I'm very lucky. I do have some parents who do speak English and want to use English with me in their messages and stuff. So that is pretty good for me. Of course, there's another thing that I learned last year. I wonder if you know what this is. 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 Basically, here is a collection of drink bottles that the kids have forgotten to take home. And they leave them in the classroom. And I didn't notice or didn't realize until they were gone and somebody's drink bottle is still in the classroom. Have you had that situation? And you found it, but you've had 3 classes today and you don't know which class it could have come from. So you have to contact every Wednesday parent or every Thursday parent, whatever the day is, and ask, is this your drink bottle? Is this your drink bottle? Is this your drink bottle? So we have a new system where the drinks are in a basket near the door, which is quite some distance between where we sit, where we study, where we conduct activities. It's quite a distance between where the kids are for their lesson and where the drinks are. So they'd have to go all the way back to the door to get their drink bottle, have a drink, put it back and come back. And that has actually helped a lot, because when parents come in, they can see their own drink bottle right in front of them. Sometimes it's not drink bottles, sometimes it's things like socks. And not that boys' socks, just other people's socks. Belongings, they leave them behind. And isn't it awful when you intend to give them to the students the following lesson, but then you forget and you're stuck with it for another week? Never mind. This photo. This is going back a few months. There's Hirami. Now this is, sorry, it's very hard to get this straight. Okay. This is a photo taken of Hirami and I at a recent camp. Our school has 2 rooms, a little bit of a distance from each other, 2 different locations on the same street. One is the Eigo Kyoshitsu, which was new last year. The other, the main school, is a Taiso Kyoshitsu, Taiso. And some of the kids come to go to Taiso and then come to English. Some of the kids come to English and then go to Taiso. And some Taiso kids don't go to English, and some English kids don't go to Taiso. So it's a mixed bag. But 4 times a year at our school, 1 every season, we organize an overnight camp. Now, my first camp was last year, and to be honest, was I enthusiastic to go? No, not really. I'm not a camping kind of guy. I like my bedroom. I like my living room. I'll go out if I kind of pulled out. So I was an enthusiastic participant. However, I must admit, the camps are pretty good fun. The camps are great. It's a very good, obviously, opportunity for the kids to get a lot of education outside of the confinements of a classroom. There's a weekend with an overnight stay with like 45 kids and like 20 teachers or so. There's a lot of learning experiences to be had. First of all, you got the bus trip to where you're going. We have been to Kanagawa, we've been to Chiba, we've been to Gunma, and we've been to Tochigi last year. And we've just finished a spring camp as well this year, just finished one. So from the kids' point of view, it is pretty excellent. And it's a really good opportunity for teachers to remain a teacher outside of your regular environment. So it's a good challenge, and it ends up being pretty good fun. It is pretty good. So recently I've changed, and I do look forward to the camps. And this was Hirami and I just about to start an English session. they wanted on this camp, I think, a 45-minute or 1 hour English activities with all the kids, which was challenging in itself because not all of the kids go to the English school. There is a large range of age kids. You've got 3-year-olds up to 11-year-olds. So it was head, shoulders, knees, and toes, basically. I wanted to have the kids use English in some meaningful way, but trying to get 40 kids' attention in a large room and have everybody participate equally when you've got such a large range of experiences and ages, it was pretty impossible. So Ma Ego Stashima was the ultimate goal of our camp experiences. But of course, every experience then provides an opportunity to think about that and develop it and maybe try some new ideas. On the spring camp, we got time in a bus. Our English time was not at the camp this year or this time. It was on the bus. We needed to provide half-an-hour activities for kids on a bus. And that was a challenge. We did a lot of singing and head, shoulders, knees, and toes was in again, but the kids was locked in their seatbelt. We also did listen to the animal noise and tell us what animal it is. Is it this or is it this? And through that way, the kids got some experience with animal names and things like that. So there were things we could do despite the limitations, but it was all right. Camp. So this is something I know a lot of schools out there are doing on a regular basis. If you do not, give it some consideration. Maybe start small. Take your kids, to the park. Then take your kids on a day trip. Take your kids on a day trip, come back the same night. And then think about maybe an overnighter. Only because of the benefits that the kids can get, the education they can get. You sometimes don't realize how clueless some kids are for social etiquette. When we go on a camp, it involves staying in lodgings that other people are using too. And so you realize, wow, my kids are rather noisy, or they're not walking nicely in the hallway, or whatever. So there's opportunities to influence the kids in the same way as you do as a regular teacher, but for showing them, now listen, we have to be quiet here, or we have to walk nicely, or we have to line up nicely, or whatever. But these are things that they don't come up in your regular classroom. Yeah, Eddie Sensei, I wish I could have joined this Taiso and English school when I was a kid. Now, that's a good point. I do too. The Taiso, oh my Lord, all the teachers at that school. So Hirami and I are totally in control of the English school. The Taiso Kyosutsu, its overall owner and manager is Oshiro Sensei. And, he's fantastic. He's fantastic. And then he works with a large number of part-timers and some regular full-timers. And they're all fantastic. Fantastic teachers. Very young. I mean, I reckon all of them could probably be my kids. So great is the age difference. And they're so brainwashing in a positive way. Every lesson in that Taiso Kyosutsu starts with dekiru, dekiru, dekiru. And all the kids go dekiru, dekiru, dekiru. And there are a list of 17 things that the kids can positive affirmation. I can't remember all of them because of the Japanese, but things like pinch your chance toka, things like that. Don't compare yourself to anybody, compare yourself to yesterday's you. Things like that, that the teachers say it first and then the kids say it, and it's all in a loud voice, and it's very, very positive energy. And over a short amount of time, the kids memorize it. So even on the bus going to camp, number 1, number 2, number 3, and the kids just say the Japanese for this, positive affirmation on themselves. I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yes. So yeah, it's great honor to be working with that kind of energy, or even though the subject is different, Taiso and English, totally different. The mentality of the staff, the mentality of the manager of Oshiro Sensei and Hiromi's and mine is all the same, totally the same. So it's really healthy, really healthy. I saw that affirmation on the Instagram and that was fantastic. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do something in English. That would be pretty good, wouldn't it? In English. Okay. So with regards to camp, just between you and me, actually, Oshiro Sensei suggested, in addition to the 4 camps that we have for both schools, Taiso Kyosutsu and Eigo, spring, summer, autumn, winter, he was thinking, and I did like the idea of an English camp where just the English kids go for their own camp. I wondered, what if we also include kids from another school? In fact, the school I used to work at for 16 years up the road. I worked at a school called Hello Kids. Have a very good relationship with that school, very good relationship with its manager. To this day, we had a coffee together just the other day, earlier this week. I have been invited to come and speak to their teachers, do some training with their teachers. The kids still remember me. So it's very good. And it's not that far. It's the next town, the town next to us. So I wonder if we could combine the 2 schools for an English camp, or to start with an English excursion, an English day trip. So that's something worth considering. And that's also something you may want to think about if you don't have a lot of confidence in doing it alone or doing it yourself, maybe involving another school. If you know any other teachers in your area where you could meet, say, halfway, that might be interesting. Might be interesting. Now, I'm speaking about this idea because, as I said, I just had coffee with the manager of Hello Kids very recently, and he very kindly sent me this video. Do you want to see it? Now, it was a long time ago, obviously, and I'm looking rather young, a lot younger than I am now. I probably was younger than I am now. So let's just see a minute or so of this particular video. See what you think.
My mind on fire, my soul on fire, feeling hot, hot, hot. All the people all around me feeling hot, hot, hot. What to do on a night like this? Music sweet, I can't resist. We need a party song, a fundamental jump.
Wow, I used to be energetic. So this was obviously a preschool class that I had been the main teacher of. These kids came every day. And you know, when kids come every day, the bonding that you have is easier. Once a week, small kids, and every day small kids is very different. Very, very different. I'd totally forgotten that I used to do these kind of things. Makeup dances. Oh, I'm terrible at that. Okay. This is another thing I picked up from somebody posted it on Facebook, I think, and I thought it was very touching. It says, teachers don't teach for the income. Teachers teach for the outcome. Thanking all teachers for their hard work. Isn't that nice? Yeah, the income could be better, but that's not the most important thing. The outcome. Exactly. Teachers teach for the outcome of students. Funniest English school. Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Eri Sensei. Right? The outcome. We mustn't lose sight of the outcome, because if we do, where are we guiding? What are we guiding the students to? You know, Hirumi and I, we say it all the time. But the what for? We need results. We need tangible things to show parents and students that coming to your classroom has meaning and purpose. And if everybody cooperates, if everybody does their job, that is, the teachers do their job, the students do their job, then the results will come. Both the teachers and the students need to know what the goal is. Now, sometimes I tell the students what the goal is, particularly if they're older. using English. Using English. The smaller kids I don't usually tell, but we set the environment, an all English environment. And over time, the kids will get it. They like using English. They feel success using English. They get to realize that that's why they come to the classroom. And then over time, if anybody uses Japanese, there's a moment of shock and other kids look at me for reaction. But my what for is crystal clear. Use English. Use English. Use more English. And then use more English. There is always more English to expand to. After a number of years, you feel the limitations of a classroom because only so many bamen, only so many situations can happen in an English school. And the kids, you either need to take them out of the English school or totally, once their classroom English is, impeccable, then bringing them into a book and using the contents of a book or some story or whatever to discuss. And that's more junior high school level. But that's the outcome. How much English did you use today? Are you using, this is for our students, are your students using more English than they did last week? So what I heard very recently that apparently our school, even though it's very new, this is only the beginning of its second year, has a very good reputation in our neighborhood because parents talk. And like at school meetings and publics, they're regular elementary school events, picnics, anything that involves parents getting together. The parents often bump into each other or find each other. Oh, do you send your kid? Yes, I send my daughter. Oh, yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yes, it's good. It's good. Oh, what school is that? Other people overhear the conversation and we get very good word of mouth, which I'm very, very happy about. But I think that's because the result is clear. What we want or what I want is very clear. And I guide the students to get that and have them feel that they're getting better using English. And then we can study. So I picked up a couple of photos of that. All right, this isn't a recent photo. It was November last year. But these, the girl in the yellow, she was Ichinense, Shogaku Ichinense. She's now Ninense. And the other girl in the black and blue, she's Ninense at the time. And so they joined in, the yellow girl, she joined pretty much at the beginning, like April. But the other girl in the black and blue, she joined about autumn, just before Halloween, I think. And already they are producing quite a lot of English together that we made a note of on the whiteboard. This too, this was this is not written when. In one lesson, our kids are producing this much English. So I'm very proud of that. Now, I mentioned this last week when Hiromi was here too. I'm just going to show you this page. It's from a textbook. It's from Learning World 2. And I did this today. Now, the activity involved coloring 3 similar looking flags: the flag of Japan, the flag of Bangladesh, and the flag of Palau. And these were elementary school kids. Book 2, basically elementary school kids. Upper grade. These girls were brand new to English last year. So they started on a textbook and now they're on to book 2. When I gave them their textbooks last week, they took one look at these textbooks that I had decided for them, and they weren't happy. They said it was too easy. They were looking at each other and speaking in Japanese. Because they go to a nearby private school that puts a lot of energy into English. So yeah, I can imagine what kind of material, or what kind of material, just say, let's go material, that they are working with at their school. I would imagine it's fairly high level, particularly because they're now 6th grade. And when you compare it, then yes, maybe the textbook that I selected for them appears too easy. But those girls, despite going to that school that puts in a lot of effort into English, they don't speak English at all. Well, they didn't when they first started coming to me. Nothing. And even now, one of those girls still gets I and you a little bit confused. Some of our students do that, don't they? They'll go, they don't know the difference between I and you. But even a 5th grade girl that goes to such an exclusive school was so confused with I and you. I have it, you have it, I go here, you go there. She would confuse them. But anyway, put that aside. They weren't happy with their textbooks, but I assured them, I said, look, yes, it's not hard. But this textbook can get you a lot of speaking. We can do a lot of speaking. But they weren't convinced. They were still like, And I know that they probably went home. The mums didn't say anything to me, nothing directly, but I think they may have whinged. I can imagine that they're like, yeah, we've got our new textbook. Matthew gave us our new textbooks for this year, but it's too easy. I can imagine that. So today we colored 3 flags. And then, of course, that exercise is very, very simple, very easy. But then after we colored the 3 flags, I asked them to brainstorm all the English that they had used in coloring these 3 flags. And they managed to remember about 9 things. And so wrote them all out on the whiteboard. And my writing was very messy, not important. Just, what did you say? And then I gave them a piece of paper and said, okay, please write this one. Please write that one. Please write this one. All the English that they had said in coloring 3 flags, I had put on the whiteboard, all the English that they had said. And their challenge was to, write it. remember the spelling of some of these words because my writing was terrible anyway. And so I took a photo of the 3 flags as well as the paper that they had produced. So here is one of the students' work of today. It's a bit hard to read, so I'll read it to you. In coloring 3 flags, one from Japan, Palau, and Bangladesh, they used, hurry please, it doesn't matter, it wasn't me. Which one? I'll do it, I didn't do it. I'm getting my eraser. I wrote it. Can I have pink, please? Can I have blue, please? Here you are. So, and then we taped it into the textbook. And I pointed out to them, today you colored 3 flags. Very easy. But look at all the English that you used. And so that kind of discussion with upper elementary school kids can happen. And skoshi nattoku shita to omou, the kids. So I said, don't worry about an easy textbook. You are here to use English. Incidentally, of this list, hurry please was not new. It doesn't matter, not new. It wasn't me was not new, but the kids do forget it. Which one? Not new. I'll do it, not new. I didn't do it. That was new today. I'm getting my blah, 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 blah. That was also kyou no donyu. I wrote it was also donyu. Can I have nani nani please was not new. So it's easy to make easy things more challenging. It's hard to downgrade the challenge. If something is really hard, it's hard to make it easier. But easy things to make it more challenging, that's for the teacher, that's no problem. So the kids, when they have to dictate, because in the process of writing all their own English, they'll ask things like, how do you spell blah, 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 blah? What does it say? The non-target English approach is the only way, I think, when you have a conscious approach, a conscious plan of getting kids to speak out. And and the non-target English approach to me is the only plan, the only approach that maximizes students' output. And when you have that in place in your classroom, the kids will speak out. And then there's the proof. If they ever complain to the parents, if the parents ever say the textbook is too easy, you explain to them, you're missing the point. You are missing the point. Your kids are here to use English. And look, this is all the English that they are using. The textbook is the tool, just a tool for the teacher and the teacher's policy. The teacher uses the textbook to bring his or her policy into the classroom. That's all the textbook is. Because think about it, the kids are never going to use the English that's in the textbook. So it doesn't matter what you teach. If they're not going to use it anyway, you might as well just teach anything. Doesn't matter if it's easy or not easy. The kids are not going to use it. The only way they're going to use English is when they need to, when they have to. And that's the non-target English approach. So, yeah. So these kids are great. And this is a healthy activity. And then I gave them some homework, which was a listening stamp, but it's not really for listening. They don't really have this. I could have made a recording and then sent it to their mums. I should have done that, actually. And that's the listening homework. Listen, repeat, and remember. Should have done that. How's our time? Can't see. An hour and 5 minutes. Oh, it's not too bad. This is another interesting photo. It's got nothing to do with what we've been talking about so far. Subjects that should be mandatory in school. I picked this up from Facebook too. And they include, mandatory means we should have, or they should be, compulsory subjects in school. Taxes, learning all about tax. Insurance, knowing what insurance is. Basic home repair, self-defense, survival skills, social etiquette, personal finance, public speaking, stress management. I think if they had been subjects in school, then they would have been very useful subjects. We would have understood why we were studying them. Isn't it interesting that very little of truly needed ability are not often taught in schools? Personal finance, stress management for kids. The kids are stressed. The kids are stressed. The kids in our schools are stressed, and they're too busy. They're too busy. I think parents are too busy too. Everybody's too busy. I'm trying to not busy myself, but it feels like a blues song wants to come on, doesn't it? Oh, I'm so busy. Yeah. Stress management, I think, is a big one. What else have I got? If you've just joined us, thank you. Good evening. It's me by myself. Hirami is getting the evening off to just relax. She's had a busy day. She's got another busy day tomorrow. It was my idea. I'm not sure it was a good idea, but there you go. And this evening's content is just me having picked up some photos to start a generation on. A generation? To start a conversation on. Now, here's something I also picked up. We're going very, very random, but I thought this was rather interesting. Can you read this? I think you can. Your brain is so powerful that it can read sentences with mixed up words as long as the first and last letters are in the right place. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. So every word in this particular sentence or passage is spelt incorrectly, but we can read it because we only read the first and last letter when we read. We look at the shape of the word and our brain only relates to the first letter and the last letter, and we can read it. Let's read that again. Your brain is so powerful that it can read sentences with mixed up words as long as the first and last letters are in the right place. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So, I wonder what that implies. Does that imply that spelling is not important? You tell your students, don't worry about it. Just make sure you've got the first letter and the last letter right. No, I'm not suggesting that, seriously. I have known about this. This occasionally comes up on Facebook or in other social groups. But the last time I saw it, I decided to save that photo and show you. And it's very interesting, isn't it? I wonder if kanji's like that. So違うよね. Your brain probably reads every detail. どうなんですかね? Well, so it's a new year, and our daughters, we had to go to their orientation for their second year at their school, and it involves some filling out papers, and you get new ID numbers and new not textbooks, but a new timetable, and all new things that happen. And I went there sitting with my girls to help them with the whole process. And I said, well, you can write your name, obviously. Please write your name here. You need to write your name there. They were sitting on either side of me. I said, all right, this says address. So can you write the address? And my girls were like, I forget it. No, yeah, it's a fairly long address with some complicated kanji. So I said, don't worry, I'll get it up and just show you, just copy it. That's what I do. I can't always remember the kanji of my address, but when I fill out a form, I just check on my phone and go, oh, that's right. So I showed them, and even copying some of the kanji was a little bit difficult. And my youngest daughter, she's very smart, but she's also a little bit tekito. And I'm like, that's not the right kanji. And she goes, daijoubu, yomeru desho. So she will just get away with anything, try to get away with anything. She's like, well, as long as the first kanji is okay and the last kanji is okay, the difficult ones in the middle, so she's getting away with that kind of approach. Hey, I'm coming to the end of my photos. I think we're going to have another good year this year because Hirami and I were very, very happy, got a lovely family. All four of us are very, very different, which is probably the same in your family as well. Time with your family, appreciation of your family is massive. Time. Spend more time, spend as much time with your family. You don't have to spend much money, but if you can spend as much time together, walks, We go to the park a lot. We like to go especially Saturdays in the evening, walking around our neighborhood, and our dinner is whatever we can pick up on the streets, not from the ground, but like, all right, we'll get some karage here, or let's get some takoyaki from here. Let's, so we walk and eat from different local shops. And by the time we've walked the whole street, we're pretty full. And we'd start doing that around like 5:30, just before 6 or something, while it's not dark yet. And yeah, it's good. It's good. And when the four of you are so different, bonding together is so fulfilling, because they might as well, I kind of feel you might as well be strangers. I mean, you're so different from me. Your character is so different from me, but we have to be together. We have to work together, be a unit together. It's a very healthy experience. I'm kind of lucky that I'm kind of I'm older than anybody. Not obviously, but in my environment, work environment, including the teachers that I work with at English Uplift on the Yosei Koza or the Learning World Junbi meetings, I'm the oldest for sure. But I'm still, as a father, only 11 years old. My kids are really young. Most teachers younger than me have kids who have already graduated uni or at least high school. It's very rare for someone my age still to have a daughter in elementary school. Osokatta na. But it is pretty cool being this age, having young kids in the family still. So our kids are 2 girls, obviously, and they are 12 and 11. And I'm very lucky that they still like me. Okay, they're not like, Papa Urusai or Papa Kusai or whatever. Okay, kids will tend to reject one of the 2 parents or sometimes both of them. We're very lucky they are still totally okay with Hiromi and I being their parents. That is similar to me. I didn't really reject my parents when I was young. No, I was very close. Very close. All right, I'll bring that up. So there's me. I usually don't like to cross my work into the other work. That is, I don't often, when I'm playing keyboards or whatever in a band or whatever, I don't often say I'm an English teacher. I don't often tell my friends in this industry or people in the audience that I'm also an English teacher working with other teachers, in a Yosei Koza. And similarly here too, I don't often, Hiromi brings it up a lot that I play music and stuff, and yeah, I've got the piano here now. But yeah, it is pretty important. And this photo was actually quite recent. I'm very lucky through what I do to actually meet some pretty cool people. So there's me in a yellow shirt. And the guy sitting next to me, he's an English guy, and his name is Morgan Fisher. And Morgan Fisher was the keyboard player for a very famous band in the 70s in England called Mott the Hoople. I don't think you've ever heard of them, but he has worked directly with David Bowie and directly with Queen and a large number of other very big names in England. And he recently became an associate of mine, and we played together. And so that was very nice. And we're going to be playing together again very, very soon. And then the Japanese guy sitting next to Morgan, his name is Sankichi-san, and he is probably Japan's most important and influential guitar player. And he has worked with Yazawa Eikichi. Yazawa Eikichi, do you know him? And so he was the bandmaster for Yazawa Eikichi, as well as working with Juju, as well as working with SMAP and a couple of other. But he's become a very good friend. And actually, we had a hanami together 2 weeks ago. So life is pretty fulfilling at the moment. Work is great. Family is great. You guys are great. Working with you guys, working with our guys at our school, working with Hiromi is fantastic. Finding time to discover myself. And when you get this age, and it's only now that you understand the meaning of kansha, the meaning of appreciation, and you finally realize how important that is, you do tend to think, well, it's obvious. And how come I didn't know about it earlier? Imagine if I had known earlier the meaning of kansha and the feeling of kansha, maybe I could have achieved a lot more. And maybe I would have been able to bring more happiness to other people. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Well, there you have it. The end. Thank you very much for staying with me, and lovely comments. A couple of hearts are flying there. Thank you so much. I was rather nervous about doing this evening by myself. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And I look forward very much to our company again next Thursday. I'm sure Hiromi will be back next Thursday. I don't think we've got anything on. I think our meeting together next Thursday should be totally fine. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week. おやすみなさい。ありがとうございます。